To say the least, it's been an interesting week in the WWE this last week. Biggest part of the week, obviously, last Sunday, Wrestle Mania, the grandest stage of them all. Did it deliver? Some people would say so, others would not. More on that in a minute. First of all, welcome to John's Wrestling Views. I'm your host, John. Thanks for tuning in. WrestleMania, an interesting show, to say the least. Disappointment right off the bat. There was supposed to be a U.S. title match between Daniel Bryan and Sheamus. Unfortunately, the only ones able to see that match on Sunday were those in attendance in the Georgia Dome, as it was the WrestleMania Dark match. Not even showing a replay for us, which was kind of a disappointment. Turned into a lumberjack match with the rest of the stars of the WWE who didn't have a match at WrestleMania. The lumberjack match, the lumberjacks got involved too much, turning it into a non-title battle royal. A little bit of a disappointment there, So no U.S. title match now, apparently. And the end saw the Great Khali being victorious. So should we expect a push of the Great Khali in the weeks to come? Honestly, I don't really think so. I mean, you look at last year, Yoshitatsu won the Battle Royal, and what has he done since then, But it's what it is. The Rock, the main reason a lot of viewers turned into WrestleMania was to see, they knew The Rock was hosting WrestleMania. What kind of WrestleMania would it be with The Rock? It was going to be a good one. Well, honestly, it was a little more of a disappointment on his end. He kills 10 minutes at the beginning of the show just running his mouth. I mean, it was a pointless speech other than, I'm The Rock and I'm the host of WrestleMania tonight. About the only amusing thing I remember seeing from it was he started the fans in a chant. He said, when I say yabba, you say dabba, yabba, dabba. Yeah, funny, but there was absolutely no purpose in The Rock's 10-minute spiel at the beginning of the show. I think it was just more along the lines of, Rock's hosting, let's kick off the show like we would when Raw had their guest host. It's something similar to that. A lot of times you'd see the guest host kicking off the show. That's how WrestleMania was. Disappointment, but it is what it is. Edge versus Del Rio started off the official WrestleMania match card. A little bit of a shocker there. The Royal Rumble winner gets his world title match in the first match of WrestleMania. I'm used to the main event. I'm used to close to the main event. Hey, I'm even used to a mid-carder for the Royal Rumble winner, as Batista and The Undertaker were at WrestleMania 23, but the first match, well, I guess it is what it is. It was a solid way to kick off the show, though, I must say. A decent match between the two, and the end sees Edge victorious over Del Rio, and then seeing Edge and Christian destroying Del Rio's car afterwards. Once again, the entertainment factor taken in play. That was to be followed by Cody Rhodes versus Rey Mysterio. Arguably one of the greatest matches of the night, going both ways. Cody Rhodes' mask getting heavily involved in the match. In the end, though, sees Cody Rhodes hitting Rey Mysterio with Rey Mysterio's own knee brace and hitting a crossroads. Cody Rhodes becomes victorious in that one. 8-man tag. The Core versus Big Show, Kane, Santino Marella, and replacing the injured Vladimir Kozlov, Kofi Kingston. Would have been a spectacular match had it been a little longer. The entrances took longer in the match itself. An entertaining match to say the least, but too short. In the end sees Santino Marella hitting the Cobra on Heath Slater, followed by a knockout punch by the Big Show. I enjoyed the match, but had it been longer, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more, and I think a lot of fans who saw WrestleMania could agree with me on that one. Randy Orton versus CM Punk, a decent match in and of itself. See CM Punk in the driver's seat quite a bit. Orton coming back here and there. At one point setting up for his punt to the skull, but his supposed leg injury wouldn't allow him to hit the punt. CM Punk in the driver's seat once again. Eventually going off the top rope to be caught in an RKO by Randy Orton. Randy Orton wins the match. Decent match. Would have been better had they have not said that there's a supposed injury of Orton, in my opinion. And once again, I think a lot of others could agree with me. To be followed by Jerry the King Lawler versus Michael Cole. It was nice seeing JR finally announce again, as JR did take the announce table for the rest of the show. Always nice seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin. The match itself, though, honestly ended up being better than I thought, but that's not saying much. If there wasn't the entertainment value of that match, it would have been terrible, to be honest. But in the end, I see Jack Swagger at one point throwing in the towel for Michael Cole. Austin just kind of looks at the towel, wipes off his forehead, and throws it back at Swagger. Match continues. In the end, seeing Jerry the King Lawler putting on the ankle lock on Michael Cole. Michael Cole tapping out like a baby. Austin getting in Michael Cole's face saying, "Do you give up?" Yeah, I give up. Do you give up? Eventually calling for the bell, giving Jerry the King Lawler the win, until the anonymous general manager sends an email saying there's too much referee involvement from Stone Cold Steve Austin, so he reversed the decision and granted Michael Cole the victory. I can see where it's going on with storylines from here, as it adds to Michael Cole's ego, but, you know, the common wrestling fan paid $55 to see this and 7 or 8 other matches, and just, why? Why have Michael Cole, when it was Jerry the King Lawler's first WrestleMania match, and you aren't going to give him a win? But, you know what, whatever. I'm obviously not the one with the say there. I'm just here to report it. It is what it is. Michael Cole won. The next night on Raw, there was a little more added to the Cole-King rivalry, which in the end saw Jerry the King Lawler having a match with Jack Swagger. Jack Swagger hitting the ankle lock, King tapping out, but Swagger wouldn't let go after a 5 count. Afterwards, the referee reversed the decision. Jerry the King Lawler won by disqualification. Michael Cole goes into his coal mine, finds a bottle of JR's barbecue sauce, and starts spraying it all over JR. JR chased him up the ramp. Not much to it. Well, I'm assuming, be prepared to see Michael Cole and Jack Swagger against Jerry the King Lawler and Jim Ross at Extreme Rules in some sort of tag team match. That's what I personally think this is alluding to, but, you know, who knows. But the next match definitely saved WrestleMania, so it'd be worth anything. But I'll get to that later. Let's just say it was between The Undertaker and Triple H. Like I said, I'll get to it later, though. But it was followed by Snooki in the 6-person tag match. You know, see Snooki doing a couple cartwheels and back elbow on Michelle McCool. You know, yeah, so the girl's athletic. Would she make it as a WWE superstar? Only for the celebrity appeal, in my opinion. She'd still have a lot of work to do, but clearly that's what the angle was going for WrestleMania anyway. You know, they want those ratings. Decent match, nevertheless. John Morrison hitting a Starship Pain on the outside to Dolph Ziggler. Pretty sweet maneuver there. But like I said, in the end, see Snooki pinning Michelle McCool. Not the best match, and definitely not the match to follow Undertaker and Triple H. Going on to the main event with John Cena and The Miz, you expect something, and you expect something from The Rock. Well, it sees John Cena and The Miz both getting counted out, as Cena hit a clothesline on The Miz over the barricade. Miz actually sustaining a concussion from it. They showed the replay on Raw. Vicious shot to the back of the head when Miz hit his head on the cement floor. I guess expect him to be running his mouth the next few weeks, but not backing it up, as, you know, he's been concussed. He's got to take it easy. The Rock is then coming out, as expected, says, "Oh, WrestleMania is not over. This match is going to restart. No disqualification, no count out, blah, blah, blah. Anything goes." Cena right away sets Miz up for the attitude adjustment in the ring, but turns around and finds a rock bottom from The Rock. Miz wins the main event of WrestleMania like that. No skull-crushing finale, no anything. Disappointment? I think so. In the end, sees The Rock, though, turning around, seeing The Miz celebrating and hitting The Miz with the people's elbow. It is what it is. Once again, why not put Undertaker and Triple H in that main event spot? They tore the roof off of the Georgia Dome. Great match, seeing tons of pedigree. choke slams, spine busters, chair shots, even a spine buster through the table, tearing down the coal mine, last ride, even seeing Triple H hit a tombstone on The Undertaker. In the end, seeing Undertaker apply Hell's Gate on Triple H, and a long hold as Triple H fought to get out, trying to pick up the sledgehammer a few times, ending up tapping out. 6 stars out of 5 in my opinion. Great match. Showing The Undertaker possibly hurt afterwards. Is The Undertaker really hurt? I've gone both ways with this. Now I'm thinking probably not. You know, it was just to make Triple H look better at WrestleMania. You know, Undertaker did become 19-0, but look what Triple H was able to do. Undertaker couldn't get up on his own willpower after a match. He needed to be carried out. Like I said, the match went on for 40 minutes, so yeah, it could easily have taken a lot out of both of them. Is The Undertaker really hurt? Maybe a little bit. Nothing too serious in my opinion. I guess maybe I should do a little more research to back up my statement. And that was that. Next night comes Raw, though. 2 big things on the heels of WrestleMania come on Raw. First of all, we get to see Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan for the U.S. title. Pretty quick match. Sheamus gets the victory. And then he starts attacking Daniel Bryan. And finally, the debut of Cara coming out to attack Sheamus. Man, words cannot describe the amazing debut of Cara. If you get a chance, stay on YouTube, look it up. You will not be disappointed by his start in WWE. It was quick, but it was awesome. You know, think Rey Mysterio in his prime, mixed with Ultimo Dragon, plus some, you get Sin Cara. Like I said, look it up. It's something to really watch. But the one thing everyone's talking about, not the fact that the Stone Cold Steve Austin got in a fight with Alex Riley during Raw. Rumor going around there might be an Austin return. Part of me thinks it could happen, but most of me saying I'll believe it when I see it. It would be nice to see Austin rival with The Miz, because they're making it look like they're not really wanting to do much with The Miz and Cena right now, especially because of what happened. John Cena, upset about what happened at WrestleMania, calls out The Rock Monday night, and they do a war of words like they always do. And The Rock's dissing on John Cena. He was saying, we have a lot in common, except for the fact that The Rock does his clothes shopping at department stores when John Cena shops for his clothes at Baby Gap. And John Cena countered by saying, strong words coming from the Tooth Fairy. Well, and then he says, but time for talk's over. We've discussed this. John Cena saying what the crowd really needs to see. John Cena versus The Rock. That's what everyone wants to see. They wanted to see it the night before at WrestleMania, for Pete's sake. The Rock agreeing. The Rock accepting John Cena's challenge. But not for that night. Not for next week. Not for Extreme Rules. There's rumor going around that it'd be at SummerSlam. Not at SummerSlam. WrestleMania 28. The main event has been set for the big show in Miami, Florida. The Rock versus John Cena. Question is, how's WWE going to pull off a year-long rivalry now? I guess I start watching. It should be interesting, to say the least. But that's all the time I have for tonight. Once again, thanks for tuning in. I'm John. Have a good one.